Hey everybody, we're here with an OHSF all-decade team DB. I'm going to let him do his own introduction, so without further ado, take it away.
How you guys doing? My name is Josh Earle. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, and I started playing football with the Cumberland Panthers, and I continued to play football with the St. Peter Knights, and then on to University of Carleton Ravens. So that's just a little bit about like how I started for football.
Beautiful. What years were you at St. Peter's?
So I was at St. Peter's for 2014 to 2016. So I played three years there.
Awesome. So before we even get into the St. Pete's times, and we all know those, that's what we're really getting after. Let's talk about as well the NCAFA impact and the impact of club football and how you got into it, and perhaps even outside help from your beginnings in football. Were you always a DB, or did that change, or how did you get into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So football has been something that was really important in my family. So my dad actually started coaching me at the around the age of 7. So that's when I started playing with my community league, Cumberland Panthers. So that's kind of where things got started for me. I was never a real like natural DB, to be very honest. They kind of put me wherever because I wasn't very like impactful at a certain place. So from age around 8 till all the way up until about 16, 17, I was playing community league. So those were really good memories. I also got to play on the varsity team, so with Panthers. So we'd be able to go travel to Toronto and all over to play games as well. So that was a really good experience for me and helped me develop as a player later on.
That's awesome. And so from that time in the CAFA and with Panthers, we can tell it was clearly impactful. We'll segue that into the next question, which is speaking about your time in Ottawa high school football. You said you played from 2014 to 2016, and so that would have been the varsity seasons, I'm assuming. And what were some of those positives and some of those fun moments that you had playing high school with the Knights?
Yeah, so the difference between the community league and the high school league was with respect to St. Pete's, it was I really enjoyed it because I got to play with all my very close friends. So even my friends who hadn't played football from a very young age, like myself, were able to try out for the team and play with them. So I made a lot of really good memories just with my close friends playing and going on to like win the championships and stuff like that. When I started playing in 2014, I was only in grade 10 playing on the varsity team. And so that was a very big shock because I've never played with kids so much older than me. So that was interesting. I think that's when I kind of like started at least my DB position because at the time I just wasn't big enough to play like anything else. So when it came down to that, that's when I kind of like started becoming a DB. Coach Mick kind of put me in the position and Coach Reno as well. And then they kind of just like molded me from that to that respect.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, as a grade 10, you kind of found that niche, and going on from there, talk about your senior seasons, the grade 11 and the grade 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So once it came to grade 11, I kind of took the position to step up because that's when I started, just getting bigger, getting faster. So I actually kind of made a little transition from DB to linebacker, kind of just to help out wherever was needed, like on the team. And that was great. I remember that was my grade 11 season, and I remember that season, it was a very big deal to beat St. Pat's because they were like the strongest team out there, and they were just like killing it the whole season. And then I remember we had a very like technically sound good players as well from Orleans that came to play on the Knights that year. And basically what ended up happening was we played them all season. They beat us during the season, but we ended up actually beating them in the finals. So that was really good. First championship ever. I never won one in City League as well. So that was like a very memorable moment with my team winning like our first championship. After that, we went on to OFSAA, where we did not get lucky whatsoever. The team we played with just was very talented, very skilled compared to us. But it was a very memorable season. It was a great time.
Yeah, that London CCH team is no joke. I remember them from even my time. I never got to play them, but seeing them come out in those Penn State looking uniforms is good.
Yeah,
pretty crazy. And they're big boys out in London for sure. So that's a great segue into, your time in high school football and seeing that, you were clearly impactful in many positions, but still able to play a little defensive back and then even return some kicks, right? And yeah, as you guys will see on a highlight that we're going to show when we post all this stuff, he's got some jets. So that being said, that all led into, your eventual recruitment to Carleton University. But that also segues into the next question, which is asking you about and asking about student athletes who aspire to go to that pathway, to go to university and eventually pros. Can you kind of talk us through the recruiting process and how you ended up at Carleton? And then, maybe also even include what happened after Carleton and, moving on to a professional career away from football.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So after my grade 11 season, the grade 12 season was the biggest one for me because that's when I was just at like I was at the top of my game with respect to high school. So that's when I started playing like running back, linebacker, like kind of just doing it all, and then doing the returns and whatnot. From that, I was reached out to by a lot of like CIS coaches, even from my own high school coaches, like Coach Mick would tell coaches to come to practice, and I met with a bunch of very nice recruits and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it got started for me. But when I was in grade 12, I did not know what I wanted to do with respect to university and continuing football and all that, because football is always something I just played for fun. It was just something I was just good at and it was just fun. And then it kind of came up where these recruits were like, offering me scholarships to come play for their school and stuff like that. So it was definitely a lot to take in at that age because I still didn't have a sense of direction of what I wanted to do long term. But it was something I was good at, so it just felt right to continue with that. So so with respect to the recruiting process, it was good. It was good. Met a lot of nice people. Went to some different school visits and stuff like that. And it was meet all the other recruits that are trying to go to the same school as well. So so going on from there, after my my last grade 12 season, that was a really good season for me. We won the championship again, went to OFSAA. We didn't do as well, but I did get like my only like kick return highlights. So that was good. But then after that, it kind of just came down to the process of choosing which school I wanted to go to. So for me personally, I felt it was somewhat important to stay at home with my family and whatnot. So I decided to pick like out of my options by 2 local schools, so Ottawa or Carleton. And when I met the recruiting coaches from Carleton, it just felt a bit different. It felt like a right choice to make. So I ended up committing to go to Carleton University to play university football. So that was great. That was a great time. So I made that transition, went through the whole training camp. It was like really rigorous. I was a true freshman coming out of high school, playing with these guys are like 23, 24, 25. So I'll have a lot more weight on me, a lot more experience. So as a young, like true freshman, just trying to like, get a look, stand out in some respect. And that's also when I made like the true transition to DB. So I was not fast enough to play running back, wasn't fast enough to play, big enough to play linebacker at the time. So I went to just straight defensive back. I remember that summer I was practicing my technicals like all summer because all I wanted to do is really keep up with these guys. So it really helped me because when I made the transition, it was somewhat of a seamless transition. I was able to stay on pace with speed, not so much with size. And then continuing into that season, I got pretty lucky just because, well, I don't know if I should say lucky, but I was second string defensive back, and the person I was backing up actually got injured on the first game of the season. So I kind of had to step up and take that role. So after that, I got that position at the beginning of the season, continued to start every game for the rest of my true freshman season. And then I actually ended up getting University the Rookie of the Year award. So that was really good. That was really like, I really felt like my hard work and paid off in that sense. And just being like so young, playing with those type of guys, like it was a crazy experience, like integrating on the team as well.
Well, it just goes to show you that, your time will come whenever, and you got to stay ready, right? And that's exactly what happened with you, being a guy who loved football, playing it at St. Pete's, but also working your butt off and getting yourself ready to play at that next level. And then that time came and you took it, and it culminated with that Rookie of the Year. Now that was with the school and not necessarily with the OUA, or was that the conference?
Sorry, that was OUA rookie.
OUA, yeah.
So
So
yeah,
that's a
so
big
that.
honor, right? Absolutely. You won the conference's rookie of the year. Most outstanding rookie. It just goes to show, like, one, you are a great talent, and then two, St. Pete's is notorious for producing some talent, and of course,
Yeah,
Coach Mick
absolutely,
can't take all the credit, but definitely can take some credit for helping you out a little bit
absolutely.
along the way.
Yeah,
But definitely, you are your own man, and as we know, football for you, you decided to take that in a different direction, and that's
mm,
completely okay. But I'd love for you to talk about that and the transition
yeah,
from being a football player to moving on to a professional career.
yeah, absolutely. So it was definitely so right now I'm 20 years old, and that was probably the hardest decision I've ever made in my life so far. So what kind of how it happened for me was when I went to university and I was playing football and whatnot. I had like an amazing stellar season, starting every game as a true freshman, like playing with these guys, really getting integrated in the team and whatnot. So with all that, you hear talks of like, man, like this is what you're doing now, like imagine going forward. And it was really nice to hear like, I potentially had a future in football. But I had to really reflect and see what I really wanted to do and what was really out there for me. So aside from football being my passion, I also have a passion for business. So how things kind of transpired for me was after receiving that award and after getting all the praise and whatnot, I really took the time to reflect, and I had to think, is this what I really want? Like, I'm at the top of my game right now. I know things are going well, but I wasn't as much involved as in school as I should have been, and I wasn't really thinking down the line as I should have been, as I knew I should have been. I was really living just in the moment with respect to football. So that's when things kind of just started not to feel so right for me. I was just, it's something I always played for fun. I loved the game. I had an amazing time. But once you come to the university level, and this is for anybody younger, it's a completely different game. Like it's a full-time job basically. So if you're not ready to commit to that, you won't be able to continue with that. So it may have been on my part because again, being younger, just something I like to play and do, but then that transitions to a full-time job, and you absolutely have to love the game to continue to do that. And I do love the game. It's just, I was just in a tough situation with other stuff I had a like equal amount of love for as well, like business and stuff like that. So what ended up happening for me was I played the first season and then I actually left the team. A very hard decision I had to make, but there were some positives that came out of it. And I just, it was my decision. It had to be my decision. There's a lot of people who gave their opinion on it. Even my own beloved Coach Meg. I remember I was so torn up about the decision. I went back. I didn't talk to him in a little while because he was still at St. Pete's University. I still have his phone number. I call him up. I'm like, man, I don't really know what to do. Like whatever. He gave me his insight. It helped me, and I just kind of had to make my own decision. So since then, I did end up leaving the team, and I haven't played football since then. But I think that's just my own path with respect to my football career. I didn't really see myself continue it long term to the CFL or anything like that. So I just thought it may have been important to focus on other things at my certain age. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how things went down for me.
Absolutely. And that's, again, the reason we're highlighting that is because we want to showcase the idea that there are different pathways after high school football. You don't have to become an all pro linebacker or DB or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
completely okay to get a career and, start a job. And as you can see, as a young professional like yourself, as a 22-year-old, you're working towards your business venture. And that's something
Yeah.
that kids can also aspire to, whether it's getting a CEGEP or a university degree, or even taking that and using whatever business savvy they do have, right, going forward,
Yeah.
and implementing that into the real world. And,
Mhm.
clearly we're seeing that with yourself. And it's a tough decision, like you said, but
Yeah.
absolutely the right one for you. And
Mm.
that being said, we wish you the best with that venture as well. And I'm sure
Thank you.
Coach Mick would love to hear from you at some point too. You
Yeah.
can reach out and see how that's going. As you
Yeah.
and I both have that connection, of course, going back to St. Pete's alumni. So
Yeah.
yeah. Other than that, thanks a lot for the interview. And again, congratulations on being nominated on the list. It was a pretty unanimous decision, and
Thank you.
it's an honor and a pleasure to have spoken to you. So all the best to you, Josh, and we'll see the post posted very soon in December.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
All the best. Thanks for your time.